LFFL prime time, everything you need to know in 10 minutes. That's right, we got a new header because let's be realistic. It's going to be at least 10 minutes. We had some great playoff action this week, and I want to get you caught up on it and look ahead to week 16 semifinals in a lot of our leagues here. The original lead, the granddaddy of them all, Andy's moving on. A 132-99 win over Miles. He was a 3 seed. Nothing to see there. But look at this other matchup, shall we? Mr. Bill Berardi, 124-106 win over me. Does this mean like I'm getting relegated? Like, am I being on sanctions? I can't go to bowl games? Like, what does this mean? There's got to be some sort of like ramifications for my team for losing to Bill in a playoff game. Oh my goodness. I kid, of course. Bill actually texted me Sunday morning. He had left both Ty Chandler and T. Higgins on his bench. It's like, typical me. Here we go down to loss again. I did Bill one better. I said, I see your Chandler and Higgins, and I raise you the Dolphins defense and Chris Godwin sitting on my bench. Yep, that's right. A few changes either way, and this one could have gone either way, a close one. But congratulations, Bill. A well-deserved playoff victory for you this year. Just one win away from that elusive first Super Bowl appearance. Now let's look at primetime matchup number one. What's his reward for beating me? Only the best team in the league. He goes on to face number one seed Eric this week. Eric cruised at 11-3 this year in the regular season, beat Bill 161-128 back in week 8. It was his third straight win over Bill. However, Bill does have a slight 14-13 lead in the series. Bill, one of the hottest teams in the league right now, wins in 6 of his last 7, but Eric also hot, winning 5 of his last 6 games. Eric did lead this league in scoring this year. Bill a solid 4th, so we have 2 of top 4 scoring teams here. Surprisingly, this is Eric's first playoff trip since 2019. He is our 2015 champion, but just has a 9-12 overall playoff record. Does have 4 Super Bowl trips, so Eric's been okay in the playoffs. Overall losing record isn't great, but does have those 4 Super Bowl trips. Bill finally won a playoff game. That is right. He improves to 4-19 in his playoff career. So neither of these teams have super playoff careers coming in. Both very hot right now in the regular season. We'll see what happens. Good news. Bill has never lost Eric in the playoffs. Probably because he's never played Eric in the playoffs. But he's never lost to him. So he's got that working for him. Good luck to both my friends this week. LFFL 2, number 2 seed Phil, taking on number 3 seed Andy. Both teams are 9-5. Actually, Phil got the bye week based on points scored. Phil was the second highest point scoring team. Andy was the third. So that got Phil the bye week while Andy did play last week. Andy did beat Phil 161-144 back in week 7. Phil does have a solid 15-10-1 series lead over Andy. Both these teams came in hot, just like Bill and Eric. We basically have the 4 best teams and the 4 hottest teams all coming to playoffs, top 4 scoring teams. Should be a great semifinal here. Andy won 4 of his last 5. Phil won 3 of his last 4. So look at can't argue with that. Is for playoff resumes, Andy, the strongest resume of the 4 teams left. He is a 2-time champion, 2007, and I believe it's 2014 behind my head. Brings a 12-9 career playoff record, the only one of the 4 teams with the winning playoff records. That's because Phil is your 1995 champion, but has really struggled overall in these playoffs. He's just 10-17. His last Super Bowl trip was 2004. Gosh, it's hard to believe. It's been almost 20 years since Phil appeared in an original league Super Bowl. Crazy to think. Maybe he's making up for how good his 95 team was. This is, the universe's way of paying for that. I don't know. Very cool stuff. This should be another great matchup. Very excited about this. As I said, we have the 4 best teams in the regular season, 4 hottest teams in the regular season, going at it in the semifinals. This is the way it should be. Good luck to all 4 of you this week. Andy does have to keep the champagne on ice over here in the LFFL too. He scores 65 and loses because Miles put up 88 on him. Yikes. And that coupled with the fact that Eric dropped 78 on Phil in a win. Andy has to wait 1 more week. Look at the high scores. I was able to drop 92 in a tight 80-point battle with Sean. Bill beat Todd, and Greg beat the Merrill brothers. This week, if you look at our standings, number 1, Andy. Number 2, Eric. Number 3, Greg. Number 4, Miles. The only 4 teams over 500. Look who's playing each other this week. Number 1, Andy, taking on number 3, Greg. Number 2, Eric, taking on number 4, Miles. Should be a great week. The 4 of the 5 high scoring teams in the league, all facing each other. Good luck to all of you. Other action, Bill taking on the Merrills. We have Phil taking on Sean, and we also have Todd taking on myself. LFFL 3, we had 2 tight semifinal games over here. Some good action. Both these games went into Monday Night Football with the outcome somewhat in doubt. Eric is able to get 2 touchdowns out of a injured and ill, Jalen Hurts in his win, his 97-89 win over Miles. Todd gets upset 10-4, loses to Phil Kaufman, who snuck in on the last day of the season, goes ahead and wins his wild card game, 79-75 over Todd, setting up a semifinal date for Phil. Now, in the LFFL 1, where we had 4 really hot teams coming in, Same thing over here. We've got some hot teams going at it, but we have some strong playoff resumes over here. Let's start with number 1 seed Greg versus number 4 seed Eric. Greg won a tight 99-97 game over Eric. If this game reverses, Eric is likely the number 1 seed. Greg is likely the number 4 seed, to tell you how close this league was this year. Eric is your 2-time defending champion, making his 5th straight playoff trip. Looking for that three-peat. I'm the only one that's done it so far, and we'll get to that in a minute. Eric looking to join me in that exclusive club. Eric's win last week improved him to 14-7 in the LFFL 3 playoffs, a strong effort. His 14 wins are the highest total in the history of this league of anybody. Eric led this league in scoring this year, where Greg was only 7th. So the only real difference in these two teams appears to be this little piece right here. The Eric, real strong scoring team. Greg, not as much. Greg did close the season strong, won 4 of his last 5 games to claim that bye week. Also has a strong playoff record. 10-8 in the playoffs, titles in 2011 and 2012. Although they have appeared in the most playoff games, they're both top 3. Eric's got 21 playoff games, tied with Phil. Greg has 18 playoff games. They've actually only went once in the playoffs between these two teams. It was a Super Bowl 3 win for Greg on that occasion. And semifinal number 2, Casey taking on number 6, Phil. Phil did beat me, hand me a worst loss of the season back in week number 9, a 109-69 loss. Phil has won 4 of the last 5, but he was only 8th in scoring. And now, the LFFL 3 playoffs, Phil, a strong member of this. 10th consecutive trip, 14 in the last 15 seasons. However, it's been only a source of pain for him over here. He's yet to win this league in spite of 4 Super Bowl trips and an 8-13 record in those playoff trips. His 21 playoff games played are tied with Eric for the most in the league. What's he up against? Well, I finished the year strong. I won my last 3. I placed 2nd in the league in scoring, so I have a pretty strong team over here. Really like what's going on with my roster right now. I am making my return to the playoffs after a 3-year absence. I talked about karma for Phil in the 95 team over there. That guy got a little karma. I was able to win 3 straight titles from 2017 to 2019, the only team in the history of any of our leagues to win 3 straight years. I haven't made playoffs since. Back in it again. I do bring an 11-4 playoff record in here. I do have 4 overall titles. The last 2 Super Bowls, the last 2 times I have played in these playoffs, I won the Super Bowl as the number 1 seed, both times against a tough Phil team. Played me tough both games. One time as a 6 seed, Phil was able to almost take me out. So I'm expecting nothing short of a great battle here, in spite of what the points scored may tell you on the surface. So 4 really good teams. I am so happy the way the year is shooken out for these, for both the original league and this league. Good teams, playing hot, hitting at the right stride. Should be great semifinal games. LFFL 4, congratulations to Miles Moore. His 2nd win of the season, his 7th all-time at 154.78, just touching me out. I am able to take 2nd place with Phil, sitting in the bronze medal position. And then on your showdown Monday night, congratulations to Jeremy, his 5th showdown win of the season, which is tied for Eric for the most. It is his 8th all-time in his career. Cough-mania, Greg coming in 2nd with Miles, clocking in a 3rd place finish here. Looking at your standings, I still do lead the way. Greg in 2nd, Eric in 3rd, Phil in 4th, Miles in 5th. Looking this week, 4 more opportunities to accrue points. We have a Thursday night football game between New Orleans and the Rams. We have 2 Saturday games this week. I know the Buffalo Bills are one of them. I will have Josh Allen in my lineup, FYI. We have 10 games on Sunday, the main slate, and then we have 3 more games on Christmas Day for everybody. We will have a 3-game slate over there. LFFL 5. 2 semifinals. Scores are very similar in both games. I was able to take Phil out. Sean was able to beat Greg, which means Sean and I move on to a 2-week Super Bowl in week 16 and week 17. Sean is making his first ever trip to the LFFL 5 playoffs, wins his first game. He's undefeated in the playoffs, my friend. He's now won 3 straight games coming into this game. This is my 5th playoff trip in 6 seasons. I am now up to a 6-2 record with wins in the first 2 Super Bowls. So I have not been back since, I don't believe. No, I take that back. I think I was back one time as well. I lost my last 2 regular season games, but I did get the win in the semifinals. We did meet in the regular season week 9. I was able to take care of Sean on that day. That had a lot more to do with Sean's team having some bye weeks of injuries than it did my team being really super awesome. LFFL 6. Look at this here. Greg has moved back into sole possession league from Matt Brown. They were tied last week. But the real big news is Nate Waldron making a massive move. I really thought it was going to be Greg or Matt. Look at this move Nate made. Nate is now within striking distance of the top. One of these 3 teams likely to be your win. We only have 2 weeks left. Did have some cool monthly stuff going on. Jeremy gave the August lead over to Nate. This was like a 50-point difference between the 2 teams. Nate is now in the lead over there. Seems like the August lead changes every single week. Phil dropped 140.7 points to take the June lead away from his brother as well. LFFL's 8. I hop back on top of Greg in a tight one here. We're pulling away. One of the two of us is going to be the champion here. Just 2 weeks to play. Tough to say who's going to come out on top. We are separated by currently 9 points. So back and forth. Greg and I go to see who's going to be the champion over here. And then finally, LFFL 9, Bill and I, the too close to call right now. I do bring about a 30-point lead into the final week. But this is anybody's game right now. 30 points in this league is easy to make up real fast. We have enough differences on these two rosters that a 30-point swing is not going to be out of the ordinary or weird. So good luck to you, Bill. 1 week left. Both our changes have been spot on. Bill changed to Brock Purdy, who's been absolutely awesome. I made the move to Sam Laporta, who just had a 3-touchdown week. So Bill and I know what we're doing with those changes, don't we, Bill? That's right. We know what's up. Hey, should be a great final week between Bill and I over here. It should be a great semifinal week. I'm so pumped to see the action. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I may or may not have a Christmas show for you. We'll see how my Christmas is going like. We'll see what the games are going like. But this has been a lot of fun. The season's been great. Let's finish it strong, have some great semifinal games, and I will talk to you next week with a full update and some Super Bowl previews.